All right, so hello everyone. Welcome to another meeting for EWBMQ. Um, so this meeting is just going to be a quick one. It's going to be talking about event planning. So if you've watched the last meeting or you attended the last meeting, you'll remember that we created a system for organizing events called event plans. And so we've assigned event plans for the monthly plan of July to different members of the executive team and the unofficial general committee. So for today, we're going to go over and see where we're up to in terms of event plans. Again, we were anticipating that it would be nice, smooth sailing and, being able to get all those event plans done very quickly. Turns out it is a much bigger ask than we initially thought. So event plans are a lot trickier to set up than we thought. I'll share my screen so you guys can see what we're going to deal with. Can you guys see the screen?
Yep.
Yes? Nice. Awesome. So I'll go through I've already went through the event plan template. So if you guys have seen that recording or attended that meeting, it basically went through what all the different sections are. I think Joseph highlighted a good point that the event plan template could probably be improved. It's fairly chaotic, definitely a first draft. But essentially we have sort of a simple example here for the digital movie sessions. It's not finished yet, but it does give sort of a starter, I guess. So you've got like the description there, which outlines the aims, and you've got a structure. Then one of the event plans that I was assigned to write was for coding workshops. Unfortunately, I got sidetracked and I made one for Global Accessibility Awareness Day instead. So great, I'll just go through very quickly what this one is about. So Global Accessibility Awareness Day is on the third Thursday of May every year. It's been going for, I think, around 9 years now. I first heard about it from the Government Digital Service, which is a sort of a unit of the government in the UK of the Cabinet Office, which is transforming government in the UK through sort of digital means. It's mainly mainly involves software engineers, digital engineers, and then security engineers, and a whole bunch of different specialties, so like content editing. It's a very interesting sort of movement that's going on. There's actually an equivalent in Australia called the Digital Transformation Agency, which was also set up as taking inspiration from GDS over in the UK, which is very interesting. So this workshop is designed to be run on Global Accessibility Awareness Day, which is this year it was the 21st of May, and then next year it's going to be, not sure when, but the third Thursday of May. So this is working off of the resources that were created by the Government Digital Service. And essentially those resources would sort of rework the resources made by the GDS in a way that sort of fits engineering a little bit more, and also has that sort of brand guidelines or those brand stylings that fit EWBMQ a little bit more. So the basic structure is similar to the digital movie sessions. So similar to, you've got several sessions. Rather than spreading it out across, say, a week, it can be spread out across a week. This one's designed to be over a day on a single Thursday, and it's designed to be either morning sessions or afternoon sessions, because it would be a little silly if we run the Global Accessibility Awareness Day on Sunday other than Global Accessibility Awareness Day. But nonetheless, it can also be run sometime around that week, which sometimes that is done. So there's a main website for it, for Global Accessibility Awareness Day. It's fairly, I wouldn't say new, but in internet terms, it is new. What's really cool about this sort of event idea is you can actually submit the event to the Global Accessibility Awareness Day website. So if we do happen to run the event, we can submit it there, and they'll actually feature it on the events page on this website, which adds, to try and get more people involved. Although at the same time, I will have to check to make sure we can actually do that, because that would be, we want to make sure that it's not like flooding an insane amount of people our way and that we can't handle it. And we want to make sure that Macquarie University students are the ones that get sort of their first foot in the door. We don't want to just get anyone from all over Australia to flood the entire thing. So I'll give you guys a peek at the resources pack. I'll move this annoying Zoom thing out of the way. So there's a great blog post about it, which is linked on the event plan. You guys can read through that. I'm not going to read through it again. But yeah, so they have this sort of nice template here, which we can work off of. I've already made some designs, of course. Why wouldn't I? So here you've got, Global Accessibility Awareness Day, and then of course some advertisements saying, well, we're on Zoom, join us, let's talk about it. So I'm sort of guessing it could be something, introducing accessibility and relating that to engineering, and then preferably also relating that to the EWB strategy, which it does. Yeah, so you're mentioning the date there, and there's like a hashtag that's used frequently on that day as well. So hashtag GAD, which is the acronym. And then you've got the actual slide deck as well, which we can work off of once it loads. There you go. So it's all the GDS, although they're a government organization. So of course, a lot of this is centered more towards the public sector. So that's more towards, organizations which are within government. So it's mainly aimed towards the public service in the UK. They have a public service in Australia as well. But in this case, we can also sort of relate that more. We can still keep it related to government or not. It's, it's all up for debate. So it's very much so not quite stable in that sense, but it's a good direction to go through, because they have like fantastic sort of resources that we can work off of already. Yeah, cool. And then there's a couple more changes on Notion. Of course, the entire Constitution is now also on Notion. So if you guys feel like a little bit of light reading, you can read through the entire Constitution. Wouldn't recommend it. Actually, I would recommend it. Yeah, so it's all on Notion. Whilst I was transferring it over though, there were some interesting sort of points in there. So I do think that it would be good to get some amendments in there, so that it sort of better reflects the way that we operate. So I think there was, especially the way that meetings work. Apparently there's supposed to be, sort of like 3 weeks notice before a meeting is scheduled, which is not what we did for this meeting. This one was 5 minutes before. But there's also, some clauses in there which states, like technology has only got like a small section on there, but it's, it would be good to sort of set in stone the way that we have our meetings, especially in terms of, that portal, now that that portal is there. So we want to document everything. We want to make sure everyone is able to access the stuff that they're working on. Yeah, and it would also be good. This kind of popped up. So I kind of did this whilst I was working on the general committee page, sort of setting up a plan for the general committee. So whilst I was working on that, the Constitution doesn't quite align in terms of defining a general committee as part of EWBMQ. And in the same sense, there's also some terminology that might be a little bit off. So instead of the executive team, that's actually referred to as the management committee in the actual, Constitution. So it'd be good to get those amendments in. That'll be for another meeting though. We don't want to do that now, because in order to make those amendments, we actually have to have all executives present, and we also have to send out an email to all of our members saying that there's going to be some constitutional changes or all that stuff. So yeah, short and sweet. Nothing too exciting, but I reckon it's probably good if we go through the monthly plan of July and see how well we managed to get through our tasks. It's yeah, no, it's fine. It's fine if we didn't manage to get through it, because it was a big ask. Like they're pretty big tasks. As long as you got like even just a little Google search or something like that, or a very basic idea that off the top of your head in terms of how we might be able to run it, or what sort of direction might be interesting to go into.
I just have a quick question. So when we say digital trivia, what exactly are we focusing on in our questions? Like, what do you want? Any requirements you have?
It's very broad. So these plans are designed to be very broad, but the point of the event plans is that eventually you get a little more specific. So if you wanted to, you could create several event plans which sort of have specific trivias with different topics, or you could have one event plan and then sort of have, let's say, some modifiers or something like that, which change how the event plan is run. So you could say this event plan is specifically designed to be flexible so that you can switch out the topic very easily.
Cool.
Yeah. So event plans generally, whichever way you think makes it easier to set up an event using the event plan is probably the best way to go.
Okay, cool. I'll get it done by next week. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we should probably talk about how we might approach it. Instead of having one person working on an event plan, it might be good to sort of buddy up and then, we can work on something together.
Yeah.
So let's say rather than having so many different event plans, all right, this is for July. We're August now. Oh, time goes so quick. All right, new event plan, guys. No, sorry, new monthly plan.
Considering the online scenario, everything is like just so quick because you're not going out, you're just sitting on your laptop and days pass by.
I know, it's crazy. All right, let's create another event plan. So July, that'll stay in infamy in terms of like, it's in stone now, the progress. In terms of monthly plans, maybe we should think about, rather than doing a monthly, we should do it like, I don't know, do it bi-monthly.
Maybe we can do like, 2 months, one plan. Like at least when it's online.
Or just one plan for the year.
That's too big.
The whole year. Yeah, I mean, it helps to
plan, but for like a huge one plan.
Yes, one massive plan.
Instead of small plans.
What about a yearly plan and then a semester plan?
Semester sounds good.
Yeah, semester plan could work.
Yeah.
I want to try and keep this meeting short, so we can probably have a planning session or something like that sometime next week.
Yeah.
And we can go through, all the different tasks that we're going to do. So for now, we can probably focus on, let's say, the event plan template, which I know Joseph mentioned, which is probably good to go through. So rather than jumping into the entire,
I actually misunderstood my task and I made another template, but this time
really?
this one is like a more traditional one. So it's like a Word. So you can print it out and maybe fill in the details by.
No. I'll hand it over to you. You can sort of walk through what you've got, I guess. We'll leave this monthly plan for next week. I don't want to have to go through that because that can take like 2 hours.
Yeah.
All right. Take it away, Joseph.
Okay, so for today's meeting, I have a few things I want to go through. So this is, can you see the Word document?
Yeah, I can.
Okay.
I dig that logo.
This is the event plan that I made I first wrote it on paper and then I tried to convert it to digital. And this is how it turned out. So there's actually 3 main sections to this, I think. 04. So there's the overview, logistics, marketing time frame, and the meeting timeline. In the overview, we've got the description of the event, overall goals you want to achieve, objectives, topics, dates and times of the oh, this one should be modified because I was thinking of like a multiple day event, location, target audience, and estimated number of participants, and also the event coordinator and people who are helping that coordinator facilitate and organize the event. So for the description, it would be like an overarching overview of the whole event that consists of like some parts of the goal, the objectives and topics. The goals is usually, you know, what I think this one is more closely related to the KPIs that we have to meet. Objectives is like more on the vision of our society, and topics is like what topics are we talking about in our activities. Dates and times, yeah, you could have multiple day events like we just had with Big Design EWB. Location, we specify if it's physical or online, and target audience could be like Macquarie students or inter-uni, and we could even include some volunteers from the region. And yeah, and those are just straightforward. And then we have logistics. And here I because of my experience with design, I thought everything should be really thought out in advance, like every detail. And so I thought we could have the link for the registration, medium, which website, or is it a physical version, start date, start time, and date and time for the registration to happen. The location of the list, whether it's a link online, you could access an Excel spreadsheet or a physical list that you may possess. Information type, so what kind of data are we collecting from on the form, and whether we included the media consent on the form as well, because that's kind of important for marketing. And then if it's an online activity, I put in a link table so that we know exactly which links to give out to the participants if we're going to have any activities held online as part of the event. Breakout rooms, yeah, it's pretty important to know how many people and the capacity of the breakout rooms and the duration as well, because people tend to ask those kind of details during the event. Resources, like for example, virtual backgrounds or presentations. We put the name, the name file here, and then the type, where you can find it, either online or physical again. If it costs anything, and how many of those will be needed, because it could be we could return into like physical face-to-face like school outreach programs, and we need to know exactly how much things cost and how many we use in that specific activity. And then this is also important, risk management. We didn't do a lot of this before, and this is more relevant now, especially with COVID and maybe more possible diseases in the future, or just anything. Basically, risk is something that we shouldn't overlook. And then we've got a section for volunteers. So name, phone, email, and then their role for the event, not the role in the society. Sponsors, like judges, or just companies who want to help support our event. And then transportation. This is in terms of like when it comes to physical events, catering physical events, and these are venues for the physical events again. And this is just whoever is in charge of booking that venue, and how long we'll be staying in that venue, the size of the venue, location, and what activity is going to be held in that venue. For the marketing time frame, it's pretty short. I feel like there should be more here, but it could be in a separate document, like along with the guidelines. And here we can find how much time we allot to marketing overall, And the promotion, the promotion that we do, we have separate start dates, time, and date materials, and the medium. When it comes to medium, it could be paper, or it could be like Facebook or Instagram. Materials could be like the Facebook post or a flyer. And end date is when the promotion ends. Start date is when you start doing it, and the time is for the start date. Meeting timeline. So as Nathan mentioned, it's good to have meetings scheduled beforehand, and so that people can anticipate and make changes to their schedules, personal schedules, that they can accommodate for the meetings. And then agenda would be listed here in the topics, duration, and which medium, whether it's a physical meeting or online like via Zoom. That's basically my event plan template, which is on Notion as well on the resources section. And then I would like to go through just something quick. We've got exciting news from RSE. They want to collaborate with us. RSE is RealSkills Education, and they want to conduct basically a STEM, a virtual workshop over the mid-semester break. Collaboration would involve a 2-week workshop, mid-sem break. It's going to be open to any student at all at Macquarie, but they're going to try to work with us so that they have some entryway into our uni, a society that can help them to engage the uni students, because they don't have a local Macquarie team, RealSkills Education. And we're currently in talks, so nothing's been confirmed yet, but they're talking with the faculty, student engagement, and career hub. So they're trying to advertise the event through those mediums or media.
Yeah, it might be good to send it over as well.
Yeah, I'll send it over after this meeting.
Yeah.
So this is just another of their drafts, so it's not the final version, but they customize this specific workshop for our uni.
Yeah. I think Joseph's event plan looks solid. It might be good to consolidate the 2 event plan templates.
Yeah.
It's not much. The only thing I cannot decide now is actually what to write on the latex, like what information to include, like what kind of document.
Yeah.
I'll show you how. So this is just an overview of what I just did. So can you guys see?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is something. So this article is from another website from EWB. So my plan is to relate something with relate something with the EWB, and just have the students use that as an example to write out this document. And yeah, but the only problem is I don't know what equations to include, because the EWB is mostly article based, but if I don't guide them with the equation, that's another thing. However, you can still include like makeup equations. You can show the other one. Wait.
Is this like a default template or you created from scratch?
I did both actually. Wait.
Okay.
So this was not from scratch. This was already there, and I was just using it to figure out what's the real deal here. And this is from scratch.
Okay.
So this one is basically, there are some problems with it, but I think I'll figure it out how to fix that.
Yeah.
But this is like something which I included it towards the end. Like so this is all blind text over here, but that's not very important. And then the one that I did not start from scratch, I included some things like the article part, like this is like an actual article, and how to change the font size in LaTeX, and then how to reference the things. So, and you make a separate file here, and you just include the referencing, and then you go back to the main text and just include citing EWB from there. So just EWB, and then you give all the referencing details, and then finally you just end it like that. So yeah, so far that's how much I have completed. But do you guys have any idea on what kind of document I should use for the workshop?
Like in terms of like a template?
Yeah, like a template for them, like how someone was saying that they're going to use the phone case for the CAD design.
Justin, yes.
Justin. Do you have any kind of like template that we could use? Or
I think the one you made is really cool. So yeah, I like that.
Yeah, so we haven't really got like a solid template. I guess that's what the event plan template is kind of doing. It's not specific to the contents of the workshop. That's sort of left open so that you can make essentially almost any kind of workshop. I'd assume sort of like the essential bits of LaTeX would be in there. So like, you know, you could just, as long as the document that you're using includes the essentials of LaTeX that you feel, or the bits that you feel are essential, that might be worth telling them about.
I was thinking maybe just include like something related to EWB, so
Yeah.
that they have more enough an idea of what EWB does for the community.
If you need some filler text or something like that, you can use Jeff Sum. I've sent it in the chat. So yeah, it's yeah. So it'll generate
also,
some.
like, just refer to the. Sorry. Yeah, go ahead, Ned.
No, go ahead. I was making a good joke. Keep going.
Okay, so I was just saying, like, you can refer to the EWB website and put in all the vision values and all in the document. So we can show them, like, this all we put in and stuff.
Yeah, we could like essentially convert the entire EWB website into like a LaTeX or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you have the freedom to do whatever you think worthwhile. Yeah. Yeah. So the whole point of the event plan is that it will be a template that eventually people will refer to and look at and think, okay, how can I change that to make it more relevant to now? So it's a weird perspective. Normally you'd think like, okay, well, what do I refer to for the thing that I'm going to be using to create for people other to refer to? Yeah, it's a weird perspective, but yeah. So we're essentially creating templates. Yeah. So in terms of, Joseph, your event plan document that you made, there was some really good stuff in there that's way more specific than that template I made. I reckon it would be good if we go through and start consolidating it. So as in like combining the bits that are good, removing the bits that are not good into the one template on Notion. Because I do know you made it into a Word document. It would be good to keep it on Notion so that people can refer to it and you don't have to, you know, go through and download something or whatever. Because that means we also have the advantage of collaborative editing. So people can go through and add stuff and add comments and whatever.
Sure.
Okay. All right.
Quick update on the coding thing, the trivia thing. I didn't do the trivia thing, but I just got a topic which will probably suit a hackathon than trivia. So I was thinking of green tech. It's more like how technology is, you know, affecting negatively on the environment and what to do to reduce that. So it's more like sustainability and technology. So we say how we can protect the greenery or environment and manage the growing population at the same time providing the technology required. So yeah, that was a topic. So I thought that would suit more of in a hackathon rather than in a trivia. What do you think?
That does sound like a very good trivia kind of topic.
Yeah, yeah.
Green technology. Unless we can find something about green technology that we might want to talk about or something like that. Oh, right, as a trivia, right.
You can just change it up to hackathon. Like if we need to have an event, so you can just change it up
Oh yeah, you can create an event plan for a hackathon. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, let's do that. Or I was thinking like a workshop, because I came across this using some technology platform to assess how it's affecting the environment. So it's like you're teaching the technology on how to see the statistics and stuff. We could also do that, but yeah. I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good idea. I like that. Okay, let's go through that event plan. We want to get that event plan template done so that we can all look at it and fill it in so that all the event plans are standardized, because standardizing is fun. It's a bit boring, but we've got to do it. Okay, how are we going to do this? Are we going to both share screens? Joseph, since you have that Word document already up, do you want to share your screen and then just navigate to the Notion page? We'll just go through and highlight or make a note of the key points. Actually, yeah, we should probably put that in the meeting notes. I'll start writing up the meeting notes and we'll go through and say which bits are yay to keep and which bits are nay to keep. And then sort of the template that we're using. Okay, the event plan. So the description, okay, I'll write up the agenda items and then we'll sort of, okay, so we got to put in the stuff that was already done. So we discussed progress on event plans. Most people did not manage to finish the event plans, including me, due to time constraints, workload. So let's say we'll work on like an event plan, one event plan a month, or something like that. It seems more achievable because we managed to do that with the digital movie sessions.
Mission, pretty, yeah, they say that 40% of degrees will be obsolete in the future.
Right, yeah, this thing.
50% of employees will require coding and software design skills. And yeah, this one is, I think, the biggest thing that they are talking about. That 70% of future jobs will demand more enterprise skills. And those kind of skills are more leaning towards like, you know, how to pitch, present well, just basically communicating your ideas across to a variety of audiences, not just people who are, you know, very skilled or technical. And so their vision is to expose students to unique mindsets, experiences, and opportunities, upskill them through practical and simulation-based learning in order to cultivate students with essential skills and connect students so that connect well-rounded and highly motivated students across the universities here in New South Wales to discuss, ideate, and make their collective mark on the world, along with industry professionals. So it's not just students here, but they also have a lot of connections with the industry. And so if we get to do this event, it's kind of one of our steps that we could take to get some industry connections as well as a society. And yeah, there's their story. I'll just send this anyway so you can read through that. And then that's what they think would increase our employability by fostering a culture that is focused on continual growth and giving students here a professional development opportunity. And yeah, there's learning outcomes. And this is basically the proposed schedule of events. There's going to be a goal setting workshop, design thinking workshop, presentation skills, and then after that, week 2 is going to be on maximizing productivity, applying frameworks. And then in September 22, Tuesday, it's going to be a slide deck workshop, and then a review with the actual team from RealSkills Education about you know, the presentation and if they made it effectively to communicate their message. And so they say that with this STEM toolbox thing, if we get involved with it, we can bolster the skill sets and employability of our fellow engineering students and people like us as well who might probably participate in it as well if there's no restrictions on that. And also, yeah, it could be a driving force behind professional development culture, because people at Macquarie, I don't know how they're doing this professional development, but it seems pretty, what do you call it, individualistic right now. There's no collective culture that works towards that. And also collaborating with an organization that has run a similar program like the STEM Leaders program that will participate in. They did it multiple times. They have everything settled, how the workshops will be run. We just need to basically give them what we think our student experience is, and we have to help in marketing, and then a Zoom link as well. And if this one is not happening, we don't have any in-person events because COVID. But in the future, in case we do have it, and this is like a typo, they should fix it soon. But yeah, and then these are the people who are in charge of it. We got contacted by Raymond. Yeah, and they're pretty good people. They know what they're talking about. They can make good presentations. So I think this would be a good opportunity for our society as well. And then they also sent to me some marketing guidelines which we could use in terms of marketing, because they kind of have that thing where you should format your marketing materials in the format they want. That's how it looks like, and they plan to have it out there for 4 weeks. And basically, we have to finalize the workshop topic within 4 weeks before the event. This is how they plan on making the post engaging. 3 weeks out, the full event details be released. 2 weeks out, they want us to post to university discussion groups, and 1 week out, we share, send emails, then everything on the day. But this is just a guideline. There might be some amendments to it, whichever fits us and the event. And these are the examples of their advertising material, which is not too bad, but I'm pretty sure we could customize it however we want, as long as we talk with them about it. Infographics, that's how they like the infographic shown. And I think this is pretty good guidelines as well that we could use for our own events. Partner announcements, speaker profiles, and how to make email marketing materials. Countdown reminders, yep, and post-event wrap-up. Pretty extensive. I'll send it through the chat after this meeting, sorry.
That looks great.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
You could do that.
In terms of how it aligns with EWB, should we confirm with the EWB folks as to whether or not we can actually move ahead?
The thing is, well, I think last semester or last year, I went to the school outreach workshop at UNSW, the EWB chapter there. They hosted that, and they had this partnership with RealSkills Education. That's where I first met them, and they basically did a workshop along with that. So I don't think there's a problem with RealSkills collaborating. Yeah.
So in terms of what RealSkills offers, do they choose the topics, or is it us choosing the topics and they provide some sort of guidance in terms of presenting?
I think for this one, they're going to be presenting most of it. So we're kind of more of an outlet for them to, engage Macquarie students. Like we're kind of their liaison with the Macquarie students. But I feel like we could get some more of our, conditions as the talks go on. Currently, I am writing an email to the GLP coordinator and the faculty to consult them about like maybe sending emails out to Macquarie students get engaged or like just gauge their interest. And also I'm going to consult with them about how this event is impactful to students at our university, and what they think about it, their opinion, their perceptions. But it doesn't seem to, like we're still a uni society, so we could still do some university focused activities.
Yeah, that's a good point. It sounds really interesting. Yeah. In terms of how much work do you think would need to go into sort of setting up this sort of event? So you said the mid-semester break.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there will have to be volunteers who are just there just to help them facilitate the event, because they'll be facilitating it mostly.
Yeah.
Because they have the content, they prepared for it beforehand. They're just wanting someone to work with them to bring it to the students here at Macquarie. I think most of our work will be focused on the marketing aspect of it, and maybe reaching out to people at our uni who can help us to market it, promote it to more students. They intend to have at least 120 people express their interest, and then as long as we continue with the marketing, we hope to bring it down to 30 participants only at the day. So it's kind of selective as well.
Oh, interesting. So it's like
exclusive.
Sorry?
The volunteers, will they give any certificates or anything? Like, how do we attract volunteers?
Yeah, that's something that I will clarify with them.
Yeah.
But we could definitely create our own certificates. One thing that we could do as well is, besides getting signatures for the certificates, is talking with the GLP coordinator and ask them if they could credit points for that event.
Yeah.
And because it's a 2-week event, I reckon that's going to be a lot of points.
Because we're doing all our events online now, and there is no extra fee as well. Is there still I know that Macquarie Engineering recognized us on Discord, but by the student engagement, is there any way you could still get a recognition as a club, and then without the fund?
For that, I think we need affiliation.
That's what I mean. Can we get an affiliation somehow, because we have been doing meetings?
Well, we have a lot of content that we can use to justify our affiliation.
So for that, we could have another meeting just to organize the materials that we need to get that affiliation done and dusted.
Yeah.
And I actually have some plans for the general committee, it's all in here, but I haven't put it digitally.
Yeah, just pop it on Notion in the general committee.
But is it possible to get affiliation in mid of semester?
I'm not sure really, but we could ask them.
Okay, because they have to give fundings, every month they have to give $500, so obviously they won't be sweet towards new societies.
Yeah, that's true. It's pretty hard to set up new societies here, whereas in other unis it's so easy, and unis are actually encouraging their students to do stuff like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I'd imagine there's some legal liability involved as well. I mean, we'd be kind of like an official student group, and we'd be representing the university in some regard.
Yeah. So the amendments would have to be fixed first, and then establishment of the general committee, maybe some recruitment, and maybe after 1 or 2 more activities just to fill in the activity gap, we could maybe finalize our affiliation requirements and then submit it to them.
Yeah, and we can
leave those.
I'll
find out if we can apply. Sorry. By then I'll find out if we can apply in mid of semester.
Yeah. So can we assign someone to find it out for us, or?
I'll do it.
Okay. Yeah. You can do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it would be good to postpone maybe some of those event plans then, and then get those amendments to the Constitution in place so that we have our Constitution set in stone, especially in terms of like general committee and, you know, how we would want to do things and such.
Yeah.
Because right now it seems doesn't quite line up.
Then do you guys have anything else you want to share? Does Seidel have any feedback or suggestions?
Is there anything you really want to see at EWBMQ?
To be honest, this is my first day. So actually, I was a little confused. Half of the things went above my head.
That's all right.
I'm still processing. No, actually, it was pretty good. Yes, I got a lot of things. But actually, I added a few more meetings to actually give feedbacks because it's pretty awkward to give feedback in the first day. Like I told you, half of the thing went above my head.
That's all right. Yeah. Yeah, it's internal operations. It's always a bit weird coming into internal operations, like without knowing what they are. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's cool. Yeah. So it would be good to get those constitutional amendments up, I reckon, first, and then we can set up that general committee and then start getting people involved in that general committee so that we don't all drown in work. So, hi, Seidel, welcome. So, welcome to an EWB 101 session presented by EWBMQ 2020. We'd like to acknowledge the respective owners and traditional owners of the lands on which we all individually sit. So what is Engineers Without Borders Australia? Well, EWB Australia started in 2003 as a small community of passionate engineers who wanted to reduce poverty through engineering. So we coined, I don't think we personally coined the term, but we commonly use the term humanitarian engineering. So it's humanitarianism through engineering. Yes, Joseph.
Can you like play the video?
Oh, there's the video as well.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't actually like that video very much.
Yeah, I know, but
I feel like this other one here, the one that I've linked, one in the EWBMQ portal here. This one seems more professional.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, sure.
I feel like this one seems so like super pro. Okay, here we go.
If you think about what engineers needed to do in the last generation, it was designing for safety and it was designing for cost, and it was just function.
A generation ago, there was certainly much less mobility. The way people got their information, the media was much more restricted, and the roles of engineers, I guess, were more straight line. So things have changed now.
That means that we need a fundamentally different kind of engineer. The ones that we were training in the last generation are not appropriate to the challenges that we have now.
It isn't sufficient nowadays to just go and deliver a project to the bare minimum. A project now, especially public projects, are expected to be sustainable and ideally have quite a good positive impact on that surrounding community.
We want people to understand what the user wants, and that's what you get out of the people in the sort of humanitarian space. They're understanding what's from the user, and the companies really value that.
When you put engineering in context, it can sometimes be a bit messy and it's complex. And I think an EWB engineer approaches it, that complexity with optimism and with an openness to learn and to adapt.
I think the EWB engineer is different because they consider the social impact of their work and how it really affects humans rather than just the nitty-gritty of the calculations.
They've got a better interest in things outside of their normal day-to-day work. They're passionate about helping other people.
They're self-starters and they're confident to ask questions and really think about the impacts of the work that they do on communities.
The environmental context, think about the cultural context, the social context, and really understand those people that they're working with.
A big part of what Engineers Without Borders does is teaches empathy to people. Engineers are all about solving people's problems. And how can I solve your problem if I can't empathise with that problem? I need to understand your life, your issues, if I'm going to solve a problem for you.
My perspective on my career has changed since joining EWB. I definitely want to focus more on community-orientated roles and ensure that we identify community engagement as a key recommendation with developers who have that control.
For me, it certainly changed how I go about things at work itself, as well as being sort of an agent for change.
We think about the Engineers Without Borders Challenge. It's the first thing they do when they come to Swinburne is partake in the Engineers Without Borders Challenge. They haven't even trained to be an engineer yet. They're already coming up with a solution for someone in another country. And that's a really exciting experience. It forces them to be creative right away.
I think the future of engineering, as I see it, is one where a really diverse group of engineers work collaboratively.
I think people will create change in the engineering sector. Which people will create change? I think EWB engineers really embrace the complexity and the uncertainty that our current workplaces are facing.
So why EWB? Well, engineering is fundamental to a life of opportunity free from poverty. So EWB is supposed to connect, educate, and empower people through humanitarian engineering. So it's putting people at the center of engineering. So common misconception, EWB, although it does stand for Engineers Without Borders, is not all about the engineers. It's about engineering solutions to difficult problems, particularly around those which involve people. So our vision is everyone has to have access to engineering knowledge and resources required to lead a life of opportunity free from poverty. So there's a heavy emphasis on poverty alleviation. Hi there. Oh, wow. I didn't know you put that picture of me in there. Why did you put that in there?
You told me to put it in there like, just before the final one.
Ah, did I? Well, nice.
Yeah.
It's a good shot. It's just like everyone's got like these really professional looking ones, and it's just me with my headphones from my living room. Sweet.
Send me a new one.
Professional. Yeah, I'll have to take one first. So hi, we're thrilled to have you here. Welcome, Saito. So meet the Macquarie Chapter Executive Committee. So we've got Joseph, who is the co-pres, me, who is also co-pres, Sahidi, who is secretary, Justin, who is treasurer, and he is also not here, and Bajoya, who is the marketing director.
But I was the executive.
Yeah. Our strategy. So our strategy changes, I think, what is it, like every 3-4 years, something like that. So I think the current strategy for 2020 has been renewed, has it? Joseph, chime in.
I don't really think that we change everything. Actually, we plan for like, say, 2030 or 2050. So every decade, I guess, it kind of changes. EWB started in 2003, so we had a very different kind of strategy then, and it just adapts to the environment that we're currently in right now. So this is like from our 2020 vision, basically. We aim to like enable and sustain appropriate solutions through engineering technology with an emphasis on sustainable development. We're defining engineering as a community-centered profession, and basically a global movement as well, through inspiring and connecting and mobilizing communities to engineer in order to create social change. In terms of sustainability, we're focusing on having the people who live in the communities be able to take care of the solutions that were worked on with them. So we don't come into, say, a community and like identify their problem for them and create a solution for them without consulting them. So a huge part of our strategy is we come to these communities, we ask them about their problems, what they think could help solve those problems, and we just are there to provide the I guess engineering expertise or technical expertise so that those solutions could be, you know, sustainable. They could keep them running even after all the engineers who are working on it have left the community. And basically, also inspiring the people in the community to maybe take up engineering profession, because if they see that engineering is something that changes their lives and improves it, then they might get inspired, and that's leading into a more sustainable, I guess, sustainable solution. You're getting at the actual problem, not the symptom. Yeah.
Yeah, nice. That was a really solid explanation. Yeah. How we work. So these are the common approaches of, so the common ways in which EWB works. So sector building, two-way knowledge sharing, long-term and equitable partnerships, community-driven and community-identified need, so strength-based approach, and capacity building. So those are all key points Joseph mentioned. So this is one of the topics that EWB commonly targets. So water sanitation. There's quite a lot of water engineers in EWB New South Wales region. So, engineering is critical to provision of safe drinking water and disposable human waste. You wouldn't be able to have the water in your own home if it weren't for engineers. So EWB contributes to developing water supply and treatment systems and processes for community management of water and waste. So, yeah. Renewable energy, this one's a big one. It's definitely going to be continuing to grow in the future. So it's key to efficiency, reliability, safety, and affordability of energy systems. So EWB in particular works with a lot of remote communities in Australia and overseas as well. So I think in Cambodia is another common place. Biomedical, so, prosthetic limbs, those sorts of things. Construction, so affordable, safe, functional. So sustainable housing, I think in some of the school outreach workshops. So one of the kinds of initiatives that EWB has is something called school outreach, where you'd actually have people from EWB go out to different schools and talk about different topics. So you might sometimes talk about floating houses or renewable energy, or
maybe biomedical. Yeah, I totally got
biomedical, yeah, prosthetic legs, that sort of stuff, yeah. And yeah, so we'd have those workshops to sort of inspire students in not only into thinking more like an engineer, but also into sort of understanding that engineering can have a human aspect to it as well. Engineering, education, research. So this is our field. So, they've got very diverse education, training, and leadership programs. So that includes school outreach workshops. You can see there down in the bottom, that was our very first school outreach workshop that we ran as a society. That was actually our very first, I think, event, technically.
Our last.
Our first and our last, yeah, because we went into lockdown before we got to do any more events. But hey, in our defense, we did do the digital newbie sessions. So that was something. Yeah, that's me in the background, right behind Hugo, who was doing all the presenting.
You were saying something, Saidul?
Yeah.
Where was it, by the way?
Oh, where was it? It was near. It was near
Bondi.
Bondi. Yeah, it was near Bondi. I remember that.
Oh,
Waverley.
Okay.
Waverley. Yeah. Where we work. So these are some of the places where EWB works. Not right. Well, not so much right now, because it's a bit tricky doing that sort of stuff internationally, I'd imagine. So you've got Nepal, India, Sri Lanka, Cambodia, Vietnam, East Timor, and of course, Australia.
Australia, yep.
Yeah, we are engineers without borders, not within borders. So who we work with, so governments, communities, schools and universities. We're in the schools and universities section. And how can you get involved? Well, you already have. You've already joined. This is one of the ways you can get involved. So we have a lot of meetings. Well, we have a fair amount of meetings every now and again to, sort of discuss what we're going to do next. And And we also have sort of inter-uni meetings. And then we also run events. So events are the key way in which we get our EWB members involved. So that might be helping out with school outreach workshops, which are currently in the process of being sort of reinvented to work online. Because right now it's very difficult to do a school outreach workshops, because I'd imagine they don't want, people going to schools and infecting people. How can you get involved? Attend events, join the general committee. Yes. So we're currently in the process of setting up a general committee, which was some of the talking points that we were, going through for this meeting.
Yep, I got it. Yep.
Yeah, so general committee is essentially helping out with the internal operations. But I think for the most part, it's flat hierarchy. We want to try and keep it flat so that, everyone can get involved and have their say in terms of how the society would run. Let's stay connected. Yes, so we have a Discord. We also have, and then of course on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. So feel free to follow us there as well. Yeah, so any questions?
Nah, it's actually pretty good. You guys explained pretty good.
Nice. Thanks, man. Normally right after this, Sahidi would go through a Kahoot quiz. And
right now we don't have it in access, I guess.
Yeah, I don't even have the link to it anymore. So we can mimic the Kahoot quiz sounds or something like that and just throw some questions at you.
I'm not good at making sounds of Kahoot though.
It's all right.
All right.
Your Vijay is starting. Come on, Vijay.
Yeah, Vijaya.
Start the first question.
What's the first question? Time's run out. Time's run out, guys. I'm sorry. You got the wrong answer. You weren't supposed to click the circle, not the square. Oh, come on, man. All right, I reckon that's about it. So we'll say the topics were event planning and RealSkills. Yeah, and occasional and last minute EWB 101.
Great.
Fantastic.